Tim, well, it's been a while, man. It's been, 16 months since you've last had a fight. Give me an idea how much you itching to get back in competition, get back in the cage.
Man, it's the same for any fighter. Like, all you want to do is get out there and fight. But, I've been lucky to have the UFC Performance Institute, so my therapy is going really well. I have great doctors here, so I'm not in any real hurry to get out there. I have a schedule in mind of when I would like to fight again. But most importantly, I want to get the right fight, and I want to get healthy.
Give us the update on the knee. I mean, you underwent surgery. Where are you at? I mean, are you cleared, or are you still working on it? Give us, what's the update? I
mean, technically, I was never uncleared. Nobody ever said, hey, you can't fight. I've even had wind of, the Wichita fight's coming around, and I was like, no, I'm injured. So I think I could fight at any time, really. I think mostly it's my confidence, confidence in my knee, the ability to fucking cut and move, like you were saying earlier. I'm going to wait until Heather says it's good to go. She's the lead therapist here at the PI, and she's helped me a ton, and I've even skipped out on a bunch of sessions and stuff. But she keeps me in line, and I'm confident in what she says. If she says you can fight, then I'm ready to fight. If she says I would hold off, then I'm going to hold off. So I'm using this place to my full advantage, and I'm really I'm being selfish and trying to take advantage of this place while I have it.
So what's the routine like right now? I mean, is it MMA practice at all? Is it just rehab every day? Are you involved in the game? What's it like?
It's been rehab every day. Now that I've been back, I've been bouncing back and forth to Kansas City. I'm trying to sell a house there, so it's been kind of hectic. But now that I'm back and I get Heather every day at 11. I just started training MMA. I did a full tilt practice on a Tuesday, so I feel like, if the UFC called with the right matchup, I could fight, right away. And I have a few guys in mind. I don't know what's happening with the division. Is there going to be a flyweight division? Is there not? So I would like to get my first fight back. I would like to be at flyweight because I lost a lot of weight, recovering from my surgery. I lost 15, 20 pounds, and it's hard for me to put it back on. So I would like to have one at 25 before I move back up to 35.
Nice. We'll get to that in a second. You said you're selling a house in Kansas City. I know for a while you weren't sure if you were going to stay here, right? Are you deciding that this is the right spot for you for now?
I feel like as long as I'm in the UFC, I should be in Las Vegas because I hear people bitch the guys in Vegas get the PI and they can use this, and the opportunity is here. You just have to take it. So I moved up here full time, just me and my daughter, and it's been hectic and it's been a struggle trying to have a daughter and raise a little girl when she lives with me and two other fighters that are guys. So it's been a struggle, but I think Vegas is going to be my home as long as I'm in the UFC. This is going to be where we call it home.
Nice. All right, well, let's talk about, you said the division. I mean, in this time that you've been away, there's just been so much uncertainty with the division, right? So what's that like for you? I mean, you're sitting on the sidelines trying to manage your career and think about it, and I mean, have you heard? Because we ask Dana every day what's happening, and we'll figure it out.
I ask my manager almost every day, hey, have you heard anything? So when I fought my last fight at 135, they pulled me off everything at flyweight. They had me ranked at bantamweight at 15 or 16. I was like, oh, that's cool. So I guess I'm a bantamweight now. Well, then they fired a bunch of guys at 25, and I got a call hey, you're number 7 in the world at 125. So I was like, a bunch of guys got fired, and I moved up to 7. So I thought that meant the UFC wanted me to fight at 25. So I've been trying to get a fight at 25 with a couple of guys. There's 3 guys from my season of The Ultimate Fighter that are still active, that are still signed. So I want to get one of those guys while there's still a division. But my manager said that he doesn't think the 25 division is going to last. So me fighting at 25 could be dangerous because they're cutting the guys after a loss. But my thing is if I can't beat these guys at 25, then I'm not going to beat the good guys at 35 anyway. So I would still like to get that one more. And I don't want to abandon the division without being made to. I don't want to be a part of the guys that killed off the division. I want to be one of the guys that said, hey, I tried to stand up. I tried to keep the flyweights going because I can fight at 35. But there's true 25ers like Demetrius Johnson. He has no business fighting at he's a tiny little dude. He needs to be fighting at 25. So, and there's hundreds of those guys that are really good. So I'm not going to be a part of abandoning the division. I'm going to stick around for as long as I can.
What do you make of Cejudo, moving up and trying to get 35? I mean, well, on one hand, he's saying he's trying to save the division. On the other hand, he's going up trying to take another belt. I mean, I guess you can't fault him for self-preservation or self-glory, but what's your thoughts on that?
At first, I was like, dang, he's jumping ship and that's going to kill the division. But if he goes over and wins the title at 35, then we got a flyweight as a bantamweight champion. So maybe that'll stir up some noise at flyweight and open up odds for a new champ and then a super fight with Cejudo down the road. For me, it doesn't really matter. I just want to fight good matchups, and it doesn't matter if it's at 25 or 35. I hate to see a division that I help bring into the fighting world be demolished just because somebody had a bad attitude or said something they didn't mean early. You know what I mean? It sucks for a lot of guys who are true flyweights who have no business fighting at 35.
You said you got a couple of names that you're willing to fight. I thought Kai Kara France was the only name. I thought that was the one you were chasing.
He's number one on my list right now because I don't understand. He got hired at flyweight. They're trying to preserve him at flyweight. If they're going to kill the division, I don't understand. He's one of those little guys that is a flyweight. We had words on The Ultimate Fighter. I kind of didn't like him the whole time in the house, but it wasn't a good judge. I was a miserable prick the whole time. I mean, I was starving, and these guys were eating and having fun, and I was just. It sucked for me the whole time. So I think I maybe was taking things a little too, being sensitive, but even still, I didn't like him in the house, and I hate that they fired guys like Brandon Moreno and Dustin Ortiz and all these guys that would beat him easily, I think, and he's still signed and has a job and is undefeated and 2-0 in the UFC. So I would like that since we were on the same season and had words. And if they're going to do away with the division, then that could be we could sign our papers. Whoever loses can go find somewhere else to fight.
You mentioned you can fight 35 as well, at least you will down the road. And I noticed you were a little frustrated with the TJ Dillashaw situation. What were your thoughts? I mean, is that a scary thing now this is a drug issue in the lighter weight classes, a champion being stripped? I mean, is that bad for everybody, or? Oh,
man, mostly it's bad for TJ. My thing is EPOs is a little different. It gives you cardio. Usually I would say, you're not going to win fights just because of that. But, there was times where he recovered from situations where I was like, how? How do you do that? Well, that's how. I trained with those guys for a little bit, and cardio is kind of one of my things. And, I couldn't keep up at all. And it was, killed me to be there with those guys. So I think it sucks, but mostly for TJ. It's going to be bad for him. I don't think it hurts anybody in the division. Maybe, if anything, people will get tested more, which could hurt some guys down the road. But, if you're not cheating, then it's not really an issue. And, for the most part, I think the sport is pretty clean. I think it gets a bad rap, but people are tested pretty hard. And, I think it's just people are going to screw up, and he fucked up, and he has to pay the consequences.
Yeah, no doubt. All right, well, let's talk about the schedule then. You said you could take a fight if they had the right time, the right opponent. I mean, give us an idea. Is there a date that you got circled on the calendar, a city that we're going to? What's the plan?
I like fighting in Vegas. I've fought here a bunch. I've got a couple of Fight of the Night bonuses here, so I would really like to fight July International Fight Week. If I could get on that card, it would be good at 25 or 35. But like I said, they're gonna have to make me go to 35. I'm not gonna just go willingly. It'll have to be I'll have to have a reason because my contract's at 25. I've changed weight classes before. I fought guys that I didn't necessarily want to fight. I fought in countries I didn't necessarily want to fight in. Took short notice fights. And, it doesn't always help you doing favors for the company. Sometimes you got to do what's best for you. And that's why it's hard to get on to Cejudo for going up to 35. That's what's best for his career. It's a selfish game. And sometimes you have to be that guy. In my eyes, he already did what he said he was going to do. He knocked out TJ. That should have been enough to save the division. I thought that was a deal. Cejudo loses, and there's no more division. But Cejudo didn't lose. There's a lot of good guys still at flyweight, and hopefully the division can be resurrected.
What do you think it has to be? Just go out and you guys put on Fight of the Nights every time? Is that what it is?
That's what it should be. For a while, it was that way. Little guys were putting on good shows, and people weren't complaining. And then you got guys coming in, point fighting, and running backwards, like John Dotson, who, if he went forward to knock guys out, I think he would beat everybody. But he's so fast, he tries to play that moving backwards and just winning points game. And we're not heavyweights. We can't fight that game. We have to have something more. We have to bring something more to the table. And there's guys that can do that. Joseph Benavidez is one of those guys. He's exciting whether he wins or he loses. It doesn't really matter. For me, he's fun to watch no matter what. So I want to be one of those guys, and I think if we can get enough of those fights that people will take notice. It happened with the girls. Nobody wanted to watch the girls fight. And then for a while, the girls were Fight of the Night almost every card, and then now same thing's happening with the girls a little bit. They're starting to, not put their dick on the line quite as much, and it shows a little bit. And then people start talking shit and don't want to watch it, and then stuff like this can happen. It's rare, but they're talking about killing a division that is brand new to the UFC.
Well, if it's not Kai Kara France, what are the backup plans?
I mean, Pantoja's another guy. He just won. He was on my season. Like, great dude. I loved him in the house. Like, he didn't say shit. Like, you couldn't tell if he was happy or sad or mad or you know, it didn't matter if the sun was shining or there was a tornado out. He looked the fucking same the whole time, and I love dudes like that. And he's a gamer, and he just beat a top guy. And, you know, we were on the same season. Ideally, it would be Kai Kara France, then Pantoja, you know, back to back. That would be, you know, if I could have my way perfectly, that would be how I'd put it.